Hi everybody, I'm Ed Caffrey, ABS Mastersmith. Welcome to KMT. I've been blessed in that the makers of the KMG grinder, Beaumont Metalworks, are now building the Caffrey Platen. It's a flat platen, multi-positional. Go ahead and check it out on Beaumont's website. What we're going to do today is something a lot of people have asked about, and that is applying glass onto a platen. And there's a lot of little tricks. I almost don't want to use the word tricks. I almost want to say little necessities. Techniques. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about these platens laying here on the bench. They're all a variety of flat platens that you can apply glass to. This is typically how a platen will come, just clean, mill finished. If this is dead flat and you clean this really well, yes, you can apply glass to that. But I did this one to show you a little something. I've got a shelf here at the bottom, and the shelf is nothing more than to encase your glue that you glue the glass on with. In case it lets go, your grinding belt is going to be pressed against this. If you don't have a little shelf or something to hold the bottom of this glass, the belt will pull that down between the belt and the bottom contact wheel, and this glass is pretty much going to explode. Happened to me years ago, and I've been careful not to do it ever since. That being said, the reason I have this up here is this is actually the platen that this was on. I put it on with Acrylic glass. It cracked because I didn't take the time to make sure this platen was dead flat all over. And I actually had a little bit of a low spot going across in the middle. And if your base is not completely flat and true, that's exactly where your glass is going to break. Glass is great, there's just no flexibility, obviously. So with that in mind, this is actually the platen that Beaumont Metalworks is going to be offering. They actually did a pretty unique thing here. They do everything on CNC machining centers, which gives them extremely good accuracy. And what they did was they used some roll pins. The holes were CNC'd in, so they're basically dead nuts on. And the glass sits right down on them just beautifully. This particular piece of glass is just slightly longer, but hey, that's no big deal. I'm actually going to glue this onto this platen face and show you all the steps you need to take in order to do that. So let's get started. I'm going to put my gloves on.
You will say hi to all the kids that are racing by.
Oh yeah, we've got plenty of kids. Where you at, guys? Come on. Yep. Sammy, Cutter, Zoe, Blade, the whole gang's here. We wouldn't have it any other way. Yes, Princess. Okay, guys. Have fun. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, if you've noticed on this platen face, I've already ground this on the surface grinder with a 50 grit. And I cannot overemphasize how important it is to make sure whatever you have that you're going to glue glass on has got to be flat. If you choose not to do that and make sure, then you're probably going to be reapplying the glass because it's going to break. So, but anyway, we're going to glue this piece of glass onto this platen. Now, the first issue that you have is the screw holes. Then these are threaded holes, and this is where this platen face bolts onto the platen. So we don't want to get any kind of glue or anything down in there that's going to mess up the threads. So what I'm going to do first of all is clean this with acetone. Clean the whole surface really well. Likewise, the side that is going to be glued to it is going to get clean. And ooh, that's icky. Going to get more. There we go. That's better. Get all that cleaned off. Okay, so that's good. We're going to lay that aside. Okay, as I said, the problem with these threaded holes, if we get glue in them, you're pretty much screwed. So here's what I did. Took my hole punch, some blue painter's tape, and just punched out a couple of little circles. And once it's cleaned, cover those holes up. And this is going to stay on here because when you put glue on here, it's going to level everything out. So, piece of cake. Some guys, if you want to, you can try to put the Vaseline in these threads or things like that. Probably not a good idea. Just use the blue tape or some thin tape. And this is going to be the side that the glass is applied to. All right, trusty Acro glass. Little Acro glass resin, and this is not going to take much at all. It's probably way more than I need. You always want to do more Acro glass than you think you need because you will not have time to do any more.
What's your ratio you're using for the Acro glass?
Oh yeah, Acro glass is a different animal. It's 4 parts resin and 1 part hardener. If you choose to try to make it kick faster by adding more hardener, that doesn't work with Acro glass. It'll get as hard as 2-day-old Jell-O, and that's it. So anyway, get this mixed up. By the way, you notice on the bench, I've got, these are just little silicone sheets. Probably the best money you can ever spend on something to put in your glue down area or wherever you glue things together. Glue beads just dry up and pop off this.
What consistency are we looking for?
Well, Acro glass, if you mix it straight up, is going to be an amber color. One of the telltale signs that it's where it needs to be is all those tiny air bubbles when you start whipping it around. You see a lot of little bitty air bubbles. That's an indicator that you've got it correct. So real easy, all we're going to do is smear it on here. There really is no magic to it. You just want to make sure you have an even coat.
Now KMG is not shipping the glass with this platen.
Very good point, Tim. Yes, they are not, and that is because I have recommended they don't. I tried, when I was making these platens and selling them myself, I tried to do that, and 9 times out of 10, the glass was broken when it arrived where it was supposed to be. And then we just got into this whole rigmarole of me having to get new glass, mail more glass, blah, blah, blah. And so I told them to make people buy their own glass. Okay, now all I'm doing is I'm just laying this glass down.
It's like putting on a cell phone screen.
Oh, very good point. Yeah, get everything, let it come down. All I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put 1 little spring clamp on each end. And if you notice, you can start seeing it squirt out. And then I'm going to grab my paper towel, wipe off some excess. Don't worry if it gets on the glass because you can take a razor blade and just pop that right off once it's cured. But anyway, like I said, Tim had a really good point. Beaumont is not going to be sending you glass. You're going to have to find the glass yourself. Where do you locate the glass? Most towns will have a glass shop in them. People that cut windows, glass, those sort of things. What you want to do is call up your local glass store and you want to ask for either Pyroceram is one name. Fireplace glass is a common name. I've even heard it called barbecue glass. anything that is a high heat glass is what you're going to want for this. Regular plate glass simply will not work because if it gets hot, it will crack. This is made to stand up to heat. It's the whole idea.
It looks a bit thicker than what I've seen with other glasses. How big is that?
This is actually 1/4 inch, I believe it is. I like the glass that's thick. Typically, you don't have a choice. Wherever you order it, what they have, thickness is what they have. Ask for 1/4 inch. I probably would not recommend going any thinner than 3/16. It just gets far too fragile.
And you got to make sure you're above those pins on the back.
Yep.
There, the roll pins.
Yep.
And then we have a video on why you would like using the glass. And why you would want to have a glass platen as well. You can go check that out.
Just briefly, real quick, I'll recap on that. The reason that you want glass on a platen is, first and foremost, it keeps the heat way, way down. I would venture to say probably 75% reduction in heat that happens in a platen when you're grinding. You're also going to find that your grinds are cleaner and truer. Glass is just flatter and truer than steel. The other thing is this doesn't warp. Your steel is going to wallow out. You're going to get places where you typically grind are going to wash a little bit. That's not going to happen with glass. As far as longevity, glass, I actually have one on my machine right now that's been there for about 5 years. Yeah, I've got a chip or two on a corner here and there for me doing stupid things, but for the most part, it's absolutely intact and fully functional. As long as you don't drop it or give it some kind of impact, its lifespan is pretty much indefinite. So, you know, and you can't get that with any, and I don't care what grade of hardened stainless steel or whatever. Short of carbide, solid carbide, you're not going to get anything that works this well. So, as you can see, the glass is on the platen. Acrylic glass takes at least 24 hours to set. Full cure on it is 72. What I recommend you do is the little bit of acrylic glass that you have left over, set it right beside the project, and I do this with not only platens, but also knives or anything else I use it on. Come back the next morning. If this is solid and finished, hardened, then you know your project is the same. Am I missing anything, Tim?
If the glass happens to break, is it removable off the platen?
Aha! Let's go back. Let's walk back to this little pig here. Okay, as you can tell, it's brown, it's burned. What I did, the only way you're going to get this acrylic glass loose is you got to get it above 430 degrees. So what I do is I open the jaws on a vise as wide as I possibly can, take a propane torch for underneath, and until all of the glass, and you can see it start liquefying it, and then you'll be able to shove it and push it off. And it literally comes off just like this. What you see on the back is the burnt leftover acrylic glass. Again, the reason this one broke was because I didn't take the time to make sure this platen was perfectly flat. So if you need to get it off, it just takes heat. Don't go sticking it in the forge or anything like that, please. Just use like a propane torch or something gentle. And then just be cautious. Get your welding gloves on because this stuff is hot and it stays hot for a long time. Keep talking to me, Tim, and I can answer some more.
Well, I'll ask one more. How do they make sure that that platen is flat and the plane is correct?
Checking it, honestly, with either a milling machine or a surface grinder is the way that I do it. I can lay it, I have a magnet for my milling machine. I can lay it down and just skim off the top on the mill with big face mill is what I'm trying to say, excuse me, and make sure it's perfectly flat. These I did on my surface grinder, and obviously the grind was going this way, but I laid it down and just went across with the surface grinder to make sure it was perfectly flat. The other thing is these are 50 grit scratches, and the 50 grit scratches do well to how well the glue holds. If you try to do it again to this shiny surface, chances are 50-50 it's going to work or it's not going to work. Anything else that I need to say?
I think we got it. You got to talk about social medias and get people to check out all of our crazy stuff.
Oh my gosh, let's see. Social medias. You've got Knife Maker Training. Unfortunately, I had a little bout with Facebook here a while back.
They just don't like you anymore.
Oh no, I'm actually banned on Facebook. I can't even start a new account.
Not even his fault, folks.
And what happened was I was in the middle of answering a question on Facebook one day about my induction forge, and all of a sudden the screen went black and popped up a pop-up from Facebook telling me that I had been banned, or my account had been disabled, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. Lo and behold, somebody hacked my account. 2 days later, I got a notice from Facebook that I was posting inappropriate photography.
You do the math.
Yeah, do the math on that one. And for those of you that know me, that's a far cry from where that Ed Caffrey's going to do something like that. So, but anyway, I begged and I pleaded and I tried to work with Facebook, and once they disable something, I have no clue even if I'm ever going to be back on. So anyway, Facebook's a no-no for Ed anymore. And guess what?
That's right, they can still hear you. Let's finish up. So, let's talk about the forum.
Yeah, Tim was he was on the stick, and if you go to knifemakertraining.com, we actually now have a forum. It's been kind of slow just getting started. We need people to come on. Yeah, that's it. Zoe wants to come on, don't you, huh? Zoe will be on there, okay? But anyway, again, knifemakertraining.com, and you'll see a link there to our forums. So just click that, join. Go away. What is it? What is it, Zoe? Huh? I don't think Zoe likes the air compressor.
No, I guess not.
So,
we better wrap up.
anyway, folks, that's it for now. I will talk to you soon. From Knife Maker Training and Ed Caffrey, have a great day.